Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your host, Steve and Jeff. Steve-O, today we are talking about collagen, true or false.
Wow.
Now, this is a huge topic and it's become so controversial. Now, again, it's funny. There's some truth. There's some absolute myth. There's some in between. Yeah. We've got unscrupulous marketers. We've got unbelievable science. And what I mean by unbelievable, I mean unbelievably good that is proven. And we've got everything in between. So there is so much, dare I say the word, misinformation, disinformation, bias, big, dairy boards and the entrenched, winners in this market, which is whey proteins, putting out information. I mean, like, it's so convoluted and conjectured, and not all of the information is wrong on purpose. Some of it is from confirmation bias. Some of it is just outright dog-eat-dog marketers making up complete fluffery to try and sell products.
Seen a few of those.
So today, this podcast is separating truth from fiction, and we're going to declare our bias right up the front, because we do have collagen-based products, but we do also agree that there is a lot of crap out there.
Terrible
But there's
stuff.
Also a lot of crap on both sides. There's a lot of misinformation that's saying things about collagen that isn't true that is, and that is true that isn't.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a weird and woolly one, Steve-O.
It's a woolly one. Can I start off with a great claim?
Yeah.
A really good one about collagen?
Yeah.
All right. Guys want six packs, don't we?
Yeah.
Forget exercise, forget gym, forget diet. I've just got the product for you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you can describe this one.
Okay, let's have a look here.
Yep. It's called. I won't
mention the brand name.
No. It's a collagen.
It's
liquid.
It's a body oil.
Yeah.
Help you achieve a tighter, smoother. Hang on. Help you achieve a tighter, smoother, and tighter body. Well, that's okay. For a start, how about you word check your claim?
Yeah.
Okay, this body oil for men, anti-cellulite massage oil.
Yep.
You guys are, that's terrible marketing.
Do you want to describe the before and after picture in the photo?
Yeah, it's a hand-drawn picture, which is complete rubbish. Okay, and this is a sort of
that's
marketing.
Available in Australia.
Steve-O, I don't want to. Let's not show that. Well, and then look, can I talk about a couple of things? Bringing the industry into disrepute.
Yeah.
Now, this is this is why I hate it, because a lot of people will see crap like that about tighter body oil for men that reduces cellulite.
But even if you say it twice, it sounds better, doesn't it? Tighter. And so not just tighter, this is tighter.
Well, what we're going to be talking about are some statements out there. That's one. But let's talk about collagen is not absorbed by the body. These are statements that are out there, okay?
Sorry,
Good, true and false.
Okay.
Collagen peptides will be broken down when they are absorbed and have no targeted benefits. You get enough collagen from your diet. Supplements are not beneficial. You only benefit from a collagen supplement when you get older. What is older? All collagen peptides are created the same. Taking collagen will not help reduce wrinkles or increase skin elasticity.
Yes.
Higher amounts of leucine are needed to stimulate muscle growth post-workout. So therefore collagen doesn't have leucine, so therefore it is not beneficial.
Yes.
Collagen is not a complete source of protein, so therefore it's no good. I mean, there's so, I mean, see, we can go on and on and on. So there's some truths, there's some partial truths. So Steve-O, where do you want to start? This is a big topic.
Well, let's make sure that collagen actually does get in the body. Okay. So collagen peptide's about 19 amino acids, just like the same as in meat.
But only tripeptides and single amino acids are absorbed, Steve. So then how can a collagen peptide possibly be absorbed?
All right, well, it's absorbed in the duodenum down lower.
Yeah.
And so by the time it gets there, it gets chewed, it gets enzymed, it gets acidified, which breaks it down.
Okay, but then if you're using a peptide and it just gets broken down into a ditri or a single amino acid peptide, why do you care if you're taking a peptide, which is a chain of amino acids that is theorized that peptides, whether it be growth hormone, gluten, I mean, there's all different types of peptides. How we talk about the key going into a lock and having an effect that is greater than the sum of its parts, literally, with regards to this.
It is.
So then how does a peptide affect a physiological impact on the body if it's just going to be broken down?
Of course. Well, it doesn't just get broken down into individual 22 amino acids. Firstly, there's one amino acid that's only found in collagen, hydroxyproline. Now, when you find that with glycine, that has a lock and key effect on the body.
Right.
And it does stimulate collagen growth and stops the breakdown of MM2, which is a type of collagen enzyme that breaks down collagen.
So I will give you a statement, Steve, that I've heard out there, and I want you to say true or false.
Sure.
Okay. Collagen improves the appearance of wrinkles and the elasticity of skin and improves hair, skin, and nails collectively.
True. We know that from meta-analysis studies now.
Okay. Talk to me about this meta-analysis.
Sure. Meta-analysis studies, just so people know, is a group of studies, and what they call, in this case, was a group of randomized controlled trials. Mm-hmm. Now, in a previous podcast, we talked in detail about this particular this
Cochrane review.
Cochrane review.
And for those, Steve-O, that don't know Cochrane review, and again, I appreciate for our current listeners, but just bear with us, a Cochrane review is considered to be a gold standard review.
It's gold standard. It's what they call Class A1 evidence. Yep. So meta-analysis and Cochrane reviews, which the Cochrane review is a type of meta-analysis, is considered the top of the food chain when it comes to evidence. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't mean it's proven beyond any doubt because science is never settled.
Sure.
So
that's a bold saying.
That's
not according to
I've heard
what's happened in the last few years.
Well, I've heard that said about statements that are like, the science is settled on. I won't mention.
Yeah, and we'll go to jail.
We'll go to jail, and you can't say that.
Yeah.
But what you can say is that the strongest piece of evidence
that we have
is definitely a meta-analysis, and that has shown that certain peptide lengths of collagen work on the skin to reduce wrinkles. In this meta-analysis I'm talking about is after 90 days.
And the link to that is in the section below. So, Matt, can you link that for us, guys?
Put that link,
And so if you want to find that as well too, we also mentioned it in the last podcast that we had as well too.
We did.
With a sort of a rebuttal to Dr. Carl. And what I mean by that, a gentle, again, we love debate, we love conversation, we love it. So anyway, so that's that.
That's
okay.
True.
So you can have a look at that in a little bit more detail if people want to find it as well too. There is a Cochrane review on collagen, pretty easy to find.
Well, this one was just a meta-analysis. It wasn't the Cochrane review on that one, but it certainly shows you a meta-analysis. They reviewed 19 randomized controlled trials.
Sure.
So a Cochrane review is not just quote one study.
Sure.
In this case, it's 19.
Yep.
And they looked at all the data and they went, yep, of these 1,000+ people, it does.
Yep, cool.
It does. So it does more to the skin than just giving amino acids to the skin, which unfortunately Dr. Carl didn't understand that mechanism of how it increases fibroblast production of collagen in the skin. So it has a lock and key effect.
Sure. Okay. So what else do you want to get? Where else do you want to go here? Because I'm very keen as well too to understand the impact of collagen is more than, and this is funny, right? So people believe that collagen is just good for hair, skin, and nails, and now that's being attacked going, no, it's not. That's rubbish. Wow. But it's actually far better than just for hair, skin, and nails. Absolutely. And there are different types of collagen, Steve, like type 1, type 2, type, however many types there are, and you might want to talk about them. But then there's also specifically engineered peptides as well too, as opposed to nondescript, length amino acids peptides.
Yeah, right. And they have all different effects throughout the body.
Yeah.
And I'll just pick on one to start with here. It's a type of a specific peptide engineered to strengthen your ligaments and tendons.
Right.
Now,
so this is not just nondescript collagen, whatever length. It's actually created by being treated and heated at a certain temperature, which then produces more of a certain amino acid strain.
Yes.
Of certain amino acid chains.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And what is that, Steve?
Well, this one is, the brand name of this one is called Tenderfort.
Right.
Now, Tenderfort was tested by the Australian Institute of Sport.
Right.
Has everyone heard of it? Well, Australia, we should have heard of it.
Well, it used to, the AIS, I think, is a great thing. It used to be world famous, and I think it's still producing incredible results, good athletes.
Absolutely. Now, what they did with these people, they gave them 5 grams of this stuff called Tenderfort.
Yep.
And they measured them over 6 months, and it was a crossover trial. So in other words, they found 20 people with this specific disease called Achilles tendinopathy, which I have.
Is that like like almost the same as golfer's elbow, sort of tennis elbow?
Yeah.
Achilles pain. It's basically a repetitive strain injury, is it?
Pretty much so. You get inflammation of the Achilles tendon, and it's very painful. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
And you can treat it with shockwave therapy, which is what I did, and actually Tenderfoot over 2 months. And for me, the pain went away, but I'm just one person.
Sure.
Okay, I'm running again. I can do whatever. But anyway, this trial, I'll go back to this trial. They found 20 people with these long-term symptoms where they were unable to train. So they were unable to train.
Yep.
Within 3 months, 12 out of the 20 participants were able to return to running after starting a therapy with a daily intake of 5 grams of Tenderfoot.
Wow.
So what they did, and the effect was long term. The group starting with Tenderfoot and the crossover design still had beneficial effects after the 3-month washout phase.
Wow.
So even after 3 months of you took it for 3 months, improved it. 12 out of 20 got back to running. So they all improved a bit, but what they said was, "Can you run?" Now they couldn't before. Now they can. That was 12 out of 20. So that's a pretty good result.
Yeah, it's very good.
Just Tenderfoot with their usual exercise. So that's quite incredible. So something happened, and the study was quite clear. And you can see here that even after 3 months, and I'll show you the graph again, sorry to give you these graphs, you can see that at the start no one could run. After 3 months, about
60%?
Yep, 60%, and then it goes up to
nearly 80% of participants after 6 months.
So even
could
after
run.
3 months, they could run, and even if it went on a bit longer, about 4 out of 5 people could return to running with just taking 5 grams of Tenderfoot.
12 out of the 20 participants were able to return to running after starting therapy with daily intake of 5 grams of Tenderfoot. That's excellent, Steve.
It's great. Now you got to remember, this is a very scientific test, and you can see a picture there of someone getting their Achilles tendon, all measured out and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is that is pretty remarkable. Now, normal physio, you wouldn't get that result.
No.
Shockwave therapy, you might, because shockwave therapy is
painful. Does it break up the calcification?
Yeah, it's awful. It still,
but it's good. You can hack the pain. You're going to get great results.
Couldn't really hack it. I was crying like a baby in there. It was like, I wasn't crying, but I was sweating. The pain was like, you wouldn't, it's like thinking you've got calcium inside your Achilles tendon, which is what I got, and they shockwaved and broke it up, and it reduced and that sort of thing. And then I got onto this product for 2 months, and I just took it for 2 months, and my heel is now 100% fine. I can run up and down hills, and I can run up for up to 12 Ks without any pain in my heel whatsoever. So pretty incredible. There is another study there you want to talk about the stability
in 2017,
of
randomized controlled study examined the effects of Tenderfoot on 60 men and women with ankle point instability over a period of 6 months. A daily intake of 5 grams of Tenderfoot showed a significant improvement in ankle stability during daily activity and during sports, as well as significantly less injuries. Journal of Sports Science and Medicine 2018.
Perfect. And as you can see there's absolutely studies. So that gets rid of that myth. Does it get in the body? Of course it does.
Well, and this goes a little bit further as well too, in terms of, and again, the starting point was, does it work on hair, skin and nails? Yeah. Does it reduce fine lines and wrinkles?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And that's just straight standard collagen with the nondescript collagen that works on different points. What we're trying to do is educate people on the benefits of specific collagen peptides and how they work. This one specifically from Gillette called Tenderfoot. There's a few other studies as well too, which we'll read out just quickly. Yeah. The nice thing is that you can verify these reports by looking them up yourself, because they are available online. And again, we will link them in the section below. Right now we've got the links available on YouTube. So you're listening to this on Spotify, jump onto the ATP channel on YouTube, and you can actually see the links in the description below. We are working where we'll have them directly on our website in the future as well too. So you can always come to the website, type in the podcast number, and eventually, very soon, you should be able to see the links and all the info there.
I mean, this is Australian Institute of Sport, these studies. So this is not like, some dodgy overseas, whatever. This is AIS.
Yeah. This is not Moldavia. I don't even think there is a country called Moldavia.
Oh, good. I'm glad you made that up. We don't want to get letters.
From the Moldavians.
So you
racists.
That's one example of
we love everybody. Everybody. We love everyone. Right, Tenderfoot is optimized to increase health and quality of ligaments and tendons. Specifically, bioactive collagen peptides from Gelita address high-performance athletes and exercise enthusiasts, as well as everybody having issues related to ligaments and tendons, such as chronic ankle instability, which often manifests after ankle sprains, one of the most widely spread sports injuries.
Yeah.
So again, really cool, cool data. Cool data.
Do you want to know how it works?
Yeah.
Basically, there was an experiment done on fibroblasts, which are what makes collagen inside cells. And they obtained the fibroblasts from human ligaments and the Achilles tendons. And what they were able to do was, in the presence of Tenderfoot, they were able to increase the production of collagen within the tendons, which is quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, the graph, it about doubles it compared to control. So that's quite incredible. So it actually gives you a mechanism of action. So it's not like, magically it drops into amino acids and then somehow finds its way back. No, it does some physiological effects in the body because, as you correctly point out, the lock and key. This unlocks the key for the fibroblasts to make more collagen. So it works great.
Great.
Yeah, and you can see the graph there. It increased it from there in collagen type 1, which is the one that builds this connective tissue. It sort of doubled it.
Yeah.
Incredible, eh?
Yeah, really cool.
So that's Tenderfoot, and we've got all sorts of things for bones, and we've got collagen also helps other parts of the body too.
Yeah. Now with the Fortigel, which is obviously another one. So Tenderfoot typically, obviously, for the tendons. So what does Fortigel do, Steve?
Predominantly joint health and flexibility.
Right. Okay.
That's what it would.
And has there been any studies that have been done? Because this is international.
Yeah.
Has there been any studies that we can talk about here, Steve?
Sure. Yeah. Basically, again, this was done at a university in Germany, and it says...
is that Freiburg?
This is the Freiburg study. I've got one from other ones, but this one's Freiburg. I've got Penn State Uni coming up too.
Okay.
But basically, this one's a placebo-controlled, randomised, double-blind, observational trial on 160 subjects.
That's a big sample size.
Yeah, it is. It is. Basically, for people who have suffering from diagnosed activity-related knee joint pain.
Right.
Who hasn't got that?
Well, I do. I
wasn't going to say that.
I'm missing 11 mils of cartilage in my knee.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I was complaining to Steve the other day, and look, I really have been remiss. I mean, it's serious. And Steve goes, "Oh, you taken X and Y?" And I'm like, "Actually, I haven't been." And he goes, "Well, mind you, I have." And I've got to say that the pain has gone away completely, Steve.
Well, there you go. Well, it's funny you should say that because they gave them 5 grams of Fortigel.
Yep.
Okay. Or a placebo, and it was administered for 12 weeks every day. And after 6 and 12 weeks, changes in the pain, stiffness, and physical function were evaluated using what they call this scale that you don't have to worry about. Basically, the results clearly demonstrate that the efficacy of 5 grams of Fortigel reduced the pain dramatically after 6 weeks.
Steve, how does it work? Because pain reduction is great, but like anything, if you take an analgesic or if you take something that covers or masks pain, you're always concerned that you're doing more damage.
Yeah.
Because if it's just masking the pain, but is it actually doing anything to support the actual health of the joint itself?
Absolutely. And there was another study done on this to find out what actually it does. And they gave them, they MRI'd the knees of these people, and it found that it regenerated the cartilage tissue. Isn't that incredible?
But hang on. Okay, Steve, I'm going to tell you something personal.
Yeah.
And no, not that. You've got beautiful blue eyes, Steve.
Super.
No, is that... So I've lost 11 mils of cartilage. My understanding is, and I did it playing football, playing over footies, soccer for our American friends. I hate saying soccer, but sorry for our English friends. We've got too many types of football. Anyway, slid out on a wet thing and blew out 11 mils of cartilage. Man, I still, to this day, it just makes me so upset. I believe that I sheared the cartilage off, meaning that there's no chondrocytes left in that section of my knee. There's nothing that can really be done about that.
Not really, but it will improve the cartilage. Now the piper to pay for this one.
The cartilage around it.
Yeah, it'll help support the cartilage around it. If there's no chondrocytes there, if there's none there,
I'm looking at therapies at the moment. Actually, Steve, I'd love to maybe talk about. I remember we were talking about this. Remember, there's is it MAP? I forget. There's a couple of different. Did Doug go into
Doug said he's got surgery. I think it's today actually. He's going to check with one of the osteos there.
Okay.
The osteosurgeons.
Because there's certain things that you can do, like putting in stem cells, and that's your own stem cell.
Yep.
I do not. You know.
That's ethical stuff.
Yeah, for me, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like this is me. First, do no harm, but also there's other things as well too, Steve-O, and I've forgotten because I looked into it a fair while ago.
Yeah.
Where there's certain therapies that are available now where they can actually believe they can plant chondrocytes actually grafted in, and then help to grow it.
Yep, exactly right.
And that's what I'm looking into for myself very selfishly right now, because I don't want to have a knee reconstruction.
No.
And I'm only young. I mean, for knee reconstructions, you don't typically have one until you're well over your 50s.
Correct.
Unless you absolutely have to. So I'm looking at using technology and nature. And this is the beautiful thing about potentially having surgery, putting chondrocells, into my knee, and then, growing those back.
And you want the chondrocytes there so they can produce proteoglycan, which is what you can measure.
Cartilage.
Yeah, it's like the gel substance in the cartilage there. Right. So that's the protective coating. And of course, after 24 and 48 weeks, because they went on for 48 weeks in this study.
That's a long study.
Yeah, long study. It did increase proteoglycan levels.
Did it say by how much?
It doesn't say in this particular study, but it certainly was significant increase in the proteoglycan density of the tibulus region. So that's in the leg, of course.
I love it, and I absolutely love it. I'd like them to be more specific. I just find that that a bit better.
I've just got the notes with me. I could dig up the whole paper. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So very well. So, and in another study, another randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, what they found was there was another study in younger people, like our age, about 20.
No one's believing that, Steve.
No one's believing that for a second. And what they found with these people with the bad knees and everything, and they treated it with the Fortigel, and absolute improvement in pain and all that sort of scale as well. So again, another study from Penn University, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, 24 weeks. Quite incredible, using 5 grams of Fortigel. So, this stuff gets in, does its stuff, and works. Now, interestingly, we're talking about different types of collagen. Yeah. Like not type 1, type 2, but different lengths of collagen. So you've got to be specific when you say, don't just go down the shop and get collagen full stop.
Well, I'm trying to term the phrase nondescript collagen peptides, which means that they're of any lengths.
Yes.
Now, as I said, will that be beneficial for hair, skin, and nails? Yes. Will it be beneficial for, but generally, not specifically, because there's another type called Verisol, which I want to talk about in a minute.
Absolutely.
And that's got some pretty awesome studies behind it as well too.
One of my favorites.
But yes, collagen is beneficial. Is it beneficial for muscle, nondescript collagen? Yes, it is of some benefit. Is it superior to whey? I don't believe that nondescript collagen is better than whey for building muscle tissue.
It's just amino acids.
Because it doesn't have as many of the branched chain amino acids. And we know branched chain amino acids are fantastic for increasing mTOR. However, I will say there is one benefit to nondescript, and just talking general collagen that you may get, and that it helps a lot with the fascia, which whey protein won't help with. And as you said before as well too, with nondescript collagen, you're also getting hydroxyproline, which is also very beneficial for the body as well too.
Very beneficial.
So, it's good. Yeah. Is it great for building muscle? No. But some of these other ones.
I'm going to tell you another one that really is.
And there is a difference. And this is the hard thing, because people see peptide and they go, peptide, that's, no, there's differences.
There is.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned mTOR before, which leads us on to another type of collagen.
Sure.
Called body balance collagen.
Sure.
And body balance, name side, just balances out the body.
Sure.
And the $1 million question is, well, how does it work to A, build muscle, or B, burn fat?
Yeah.
Which is what people want, don't they?
Sure.
You say 90% of people want to build more muscle, burn fat, or maybe 100.
Yeah.
They compared it against whey.
Yeah.
And the muscle growth was in the body balance collagen, not the non-generic script stuff, but body balance collagen, 1.3 kilos of muscle mass increase over the period, compared to 0.7 from the whey.
So nearly double.
Nearly double.
So, and body balance is an amino acid peptide length.
Yep.
That was specifically created and designed to enhance lean muscle tissue.
Yes, exactly. And you want to know the side effect or the other effect?
Yes.
It burnt fat mass by 5.3 kilos compared to the whey group, which is 4.1.
So there's that's significant
Puts
increase.
on more muscle and burns more
body fat.
And we've got a paper on that here.
So my understanding is that we're talking about mTOR for building muscle tissue. Now, mTOR absolutely can be produced through leucine, branched-chain amino acid leucine, which is incredibly good for building mTOR. You said as well too, Steve, is glycine. Sorry,
glycine and arginine,
and arginine together help mTOR.
Now,
but don't you get that in whey protein?
So, you do get some glycine, but you still get some taurine. You still get all the amino acids in collagen, except for tryptophan, which is.
So, what is the significant difference?
Okay.
And would you get an accumulation effect if both were combined?
Absolutely you would.
So and because what we're looking at the moment obviously is not so much all of the amino acids in whey protein isolate, but specifically utilizing non-dairy based branched chain amino acids potentially with a body balance. So,
Now you got to remember that the body balance still has the branched chain amino acids, just not as many as whey.
Yeah.
But it has way more glycine.
Yeah.
And glycine drives up mTOR.
Which is funny because glycine gets a bit of a dirty.
I don't know why.
Well, because of amino acid spiking. So glycine is a relatively cheap amino that people. So then people might go, well, why not just use whey protein and spike glycine into it, which is actually considered to be a really bad thing.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that the body balance is just purely the sum of its parts, Steve.
No, there's way more to it. You're right. The glycine does produce mTOR, and this was published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2016.
Right.
And it basically says glycine. The title is "Glycine regulates protein turnover by activating mTOR." So
it's funny that it's considered because, as I said, I think there's some bad taste in people's mouth when companies here in Australia, I believe also over in the US as well too.
Yeah.
And for those that have been in the industry for a while, you'll know the companies I'm talking about. I don't want to go out and slag anybody out.
I've got some more good news for you.
But basically, Steve, before I lose the point, they were accused of and I believe proven, and again, I'm not mentioning the names because I can't remember the exact details, of spiking their protein with glycine, which shows when tested that it is nitrogen. So in other words, when you test, it shows that the percentage of protein is high, but because it's a low-cost amino, people said that they were getting ripped off. Now, they were, but the negative impact on muscle building may not be as bad as they actually thought.
The story gets better for glycine.
Oh.
Have you heard of MURF1? MURF1?
I have, but I couldn't tell you what it did, Steve.
And Atrogen 1?
No.
Okay, they're baddies. They break down muscle.
Right.
Okay? And guess what glycine does? It inhibits those two little suckers.
Okay.
So glycine, yes, builds it up with mTOR, but also inhibits the breakdown of muscle.
So that almost sounds a little bit like HMB, which comes from leucine, right? Which is
the activated leucine, basically.
Yeah. So HMB, leucine converts into KIC, and KIC converts into HMB. And HMB has been shown to be incredibly powerful at preventing muscle tissue breakdown. But are you saying that glycine works differently or on the same
Absolutely. It works differently because it increases mTOR, which builds muscle, but also inhibits the breakdown by not knocking out, but reducing the enzymes that break down the muscle tissue. Remember last podcast now, we talked about myostatin and we all want similar sort of thing. So glycine has that effect of being more than just great for mTOR.
Okay.
It inhibits those MURF1 and Atrogen 1. So it's really interesting. And that's what the title of this paper is.
Okay.
So very interesting. Sodium. But also, guess what else builds up mTOR is arginine.
Yeah.
Now, arginine and glycine are way higher. That's a terrible word, but much higher in collagen, all collagen, but
like it's found higher in collagen.
Naturally,
Right.
So we've got these two amino acids that boost mTOR beyond leucine, isoleucine, and valine, the branch chains, which are also in collagen.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a moment. So glycine, I think we've sort of helped to dispel that it's not an evil amino acid. No. It's being used for nefarious purposes, but actually it's good, and it is relatively cost effective. Arginine definitely has a bad rap. Now, back in the early 2000s, arginine alpha-ketoglutarate, there were all different types of arginines that were used in pre-workouts to enhance nitric oxide. Now, there's also concerns around systemic nitric oxide production, meaning that if you take arginine, and this is where citrulline has taken over to increase nitric oxide because it's more effective at increasing nitric oxide in the peripheral, that is the muscles, as opposed to arginine when you take it, which can increase nitric oxide in the gut, right? So what about arginine? Because my understanding was that there were some studies that showed that there was a significant negative health benefit of using the amino acid arginine in high levels because I think, Steve, if I remember correctly, it caused problems with the heart.
Yeah, it can because it's too centralized. But this is just arginine in food.
Right.
Which is naturally found in collagen and naturally found in whey protein and peanuts.
Yeah.
So this is, we're not talking about supplementing super physiological gram doses of it.
Sure.
This is just eating it as part of your normal healthy diet.
Okay.
And it's much higher in collagen than it is in whey.
Okay.
So those two amino acids, glycine and arginine, is super rich, which explains some of the benefit why you get more muscle mass growth compared to whey.
Okay.
And remember that this study is 30 people. Remember the science not settled, but it's a good little start.
Sure.
It's a little part, So
well, I think the two studies that I've heard of with regards to body balance, the first one that they did showed a 300% increase in lean muscle tissue over whey, and this one is around 200%. So
and more fat loss.
And more fat loss. So maybe let's go with the lower common denominator, say that it's twice as good as whey protein at building lean muscle tissue, which is surprising.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember that the other advantage about collagen is you're less likely to be allergic to it. It's going to sit in your gut better because it's not from a cow. It's collagen is found in the human body. 30% of your protein is collagen, as we've said before. So you're not going to be terribly allergic to it like you could be from dairy.
Let me just pick up on that. It's not dairy. It is from a cow because it's from a cow's skin, right?
Oh, yes.
So yes.
It's not dairy though.
It's not a lactating cow that you're having. Yeah.
No, you're eating part of the cow.
It's closer to meat.
Yeah, exactly
anything.
it is.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this study shows that, of course, it does get in the body.
Yeah.
You don't just have a slug of collagen ends up in your poo.
Yeah.
That's the only, it just, I mean, for that, and I know that's one of the myths that we have to bust, but it's almost, you can't really bust it because it's such a weird myth. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
So some of the questions that we were answering today, and I think we've done a few of them here, collagen is not absorbed by the body. Well, I think we can show that it even gets into some of the tissue, which has relatively low blood flow.
Gets into your cartilage.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a myth. Collagen peptides will be broken down, they're absorbed and have no targeted benefits. Well, again, I think these studies prove that not to be true.
Yep.
You get enough collagen from diet supplements are not beneficial.
Where do you get it in your diet? Like a normal diet? You don't.
Well, typically the only areas where you would get collagen from is things like broths, bone broths and that sort of stuff, Steve. But for the West, unfortunately, they've become probably less common.
Maybe 2 to 3% of the population have broths regularly.
You only benefit from a collagen supplement when you get older. Now, I haven't heard this. Look, that sounds just ludicrous to me. I don't know why.
Well, we've got a study on 20-year-olds.
Okay.
For injury, so that works great.
All collagen peptides are created the same. Well, we know that there's Fortigel, Fortibone, Tenderfort, Body Balance, and one that we're going to talk about in a minute, Verisol. And this is coming to this one. Taking collagens will not help reduce wrinkles or increase skin elasticity.
Wow.
Now, this is a double no and no.
And
the first no is that no, as we said at the beginning, there's definitely a Cochrane review, meta-analysis, I should say. 19 studies, I think you said.
Yeah, 19
that proved absolutely categorically that even nondescript collagen, in other words, just any collagen that, you can go and buy virtually any of the collagen that they're going to be of some benefit.
Absolutely.
Steve, did it talk about, because a lot of people are confused around, and I know we've done a podcast on this previously, but you might just want to summarize really quickly the different types of collagen and typically what affinity they have in the body?
Sure. There's type 1, which is affinity for the skin, type 3, muscles and that sort of thing, and your body can make the type 2 out of that. There's about 24 types anyway.
Right.
But what we're talking about is specific collagen, like we're talking about specific collagen peptides.
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
So what I want to say now is that, so we've got the different types of collagen, nondescript collagen, and that meta-analysis was done just on those. What we're going to talk about now is Verisol. Now, this is a collagen peptide which is designed for the skin.
Designed for the skin.
And this is, if you thought that collagen was good based on that meta-analysis, then wait till you hear this study.
Oh, Vericel's incredible. I mean, there's so much studies that basically it's a very short peptide.
Right.
And it does find its way to the skin.
Right.
And does have clear benefits in the skin and also in other parts of the body, which I've got a new study here that goes on that I think you'll like.
Okay.
Not a new study, but it's a new one to, because we did talk about Dr. Carl, how he talked a lot about, and we talked a lot about Vericel and that thing. But I'll say one word that'll make most women, and it's usually women, quiver: cellulite.
Oh, so I was going to say Jeff.
Oh, no.
No.
All right.
It's not Jeff?
Yeah, so basically...
Makes one woman quiver in particular.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah. Poor old Tony.
Poor Tony.
Poor Tony. That's right. Okay, so there is this type of collagen called Vericel.
Yep.
Okay, that we've talked about. Now, we talked about it at length with wrinkles, like and if you haven't listened to the podcast where we talked about the Dr. Carl comment.
And we say so with all respect. I just want to say again as well too, with all respect.
Yeah.
So please don't think we're having a crack at anyone, but we just want to set what we believe is the record straight. And, so please, this is not about arguing or being a dick, which many people are online, let's face it.
Yeah.
It's about just, Anyway, enough about that.
All right. So does it get to the skin and all that sort of stuff? Yes, it does. And so this is a new paper which published 2015, the Journal of Medicinal Food. So this and what they did with this was they gave them just 2.5 grams of Vericel, and it was Vericel from Gelita. And they gave that to them once a day. And they gave it to them for a longer period of time in this study, so 6 months. Now, we know the wrinkles can be helped after 3 months or 2 months, even 1 month, some studies. But in the meta-analysis said 3 months, you'll get clear benefits. But this one was 6 months. So you have to be patient with this one. And what they did, and I'll just read you the conclusion and we'll talk about the methodology, which is quite interesting. It says, the results of the study demonstrated that regular ingestion of Vericel over a period of 6 months led to a clear improvement of the skin appearance in women suffering from moderate cellulite. So isn't that incredible?
It makes me quiver, Steve.
It makes, yeah. I mean, cellulite is the bane of existence for women. Some of them really hate it.
Yes.
And so if you can improve the appearance of it. Now, this didn't melt the fat. It just smoothed out the lumpiness.
So my understanding, Steve, in terms of cellulite as well too, it's got to do with the collagen fibers and the way that they effectively mesh, right?
Yep.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So and again, I'm not an expert here, but my understanding is that obviously when women go through that time of the month, that obviously has an impact on the integrity of the collagen in that area for women.
Yeah.
And it creates if you like conforming collagen strands, correct?
That's exactly right. Now, this won't burn your fat. It just improves the appearance of collagen.
It's impressive.
And that's absolutely phenomenal.
So what percentage did it improve the appearance by?
Okay. So
because appearance and look, these things are interesting because my understanding is you can talk about the appearance.
Yep.
But what's the deal?
Okay. So here's the deal in a graphical form.
Okay.
So you can see that there's a placebo group and a Vericel group. So the Vericel group is the black group, and you see at the start they all had this. Now after 3 months it was slightly better, but it wasn't significantly. NS means non-significant. But then after 6 months of treatment, you can see it's probably down almost half. Compared to the placebo group.
So for those that obviously are watching on YouTube, you can have a look at this, the figure 1, skin surface profile of tight skin before and after 3 and 6 months of oral supplementation with bioactive, that's important, collagen peptide, BCP, or placebo, measured by Primos Pico skin waveness of thigh was statistically significant decrease.
Yeah, Primos is a measuring device.
Okay. So it was using proper, not just observation, but actually using a device.
Measurement device, yeah.
Now, the p-value, Steve, is good, but not what I'd consider to be amazing. A p-value of 0.05.
Yeah.
So that's still good.
That's significant. Yeah, that's a significant improvement.
After 6 months of BCP, which is the bioactive collagen peptide, daily intake and overall study subjects in comparison with placebo treatment, it shows a significant statistic significance.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, I'm trampling all over that.
That's all right.
But baseline starts at 1.
So this is all of them?
Yep. And that's both, so again, they've got to have a starting point. After 3 months, there was a slight reduction with the BCP, people as over placebo. I would say that the difference, Steve, was probably from around about 0.91 versus about 0.88.
Yeah.
So it's a slightly,
not significant.
Yep. But after 6 months, and I'm trying to read this as possible, the difference was for the placebo group at about 0.94. So in terms of the higher the number,
the worse.
The worse the appearance, versus the BCP or the collagen peptide group was around about 0.86 roughly. So it's significant. Significant improvement.
It was significant. So the take-home message from this is that yes, it does get to the skin. The wrinkles thing we talked about last week, that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
You will get rid of wrinkles, fine line wrinkles, or reduce them.
I was going to say get rid is a strong word, Steve, but
I know. Quickly
reduce.
battle. I'll say it again.
I've got to start using this stuff.
Yeah, so we'll say it again.
Tony's asking for me.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up, Tony. Don't even take my bloody stuff for my joints and my knee hurts.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so with these collagen peptides, you will reduce the appearance of fine lines and small wrinkles. Absolutely, that's in the meta-analysis. This paper, as a side effect of that, it will help reduce your cellulite levels.
Yeah.
So that's quite incredible. Certainly help the appearance of it.
You know what we should do, Steve-O?
What?
We should actually set up a small in-house clinical trial to actually have a look at the benefits of using collagen and other compounds to see how people actually respond with fine lines and wrinkles.
Absolutely. For the wrinkles, I was going to say, God, I can imagine measuring people's cellulite here, and we'd be in the HR office. The wrinkles, absolutely. Yeah, we could do that easily.
Yeah, we should.
Because there's other things help with wrinkles like astaxanthin and hyaluronic acid, and vitamin C.
Yeah, there's some really good things that can be used in conjunction.
Yeah.
And as I said, there's no such thing as miracle cures, but there's definitely with today's technology and science, and with this information that is actually independent, where you can actually see the benefits there.
Can I give you another miraculous cure for, a miracle marketing claim? I've got one here.
Okay, only if it's not, because the word miracle is absolutely frowned on. And I agree, it's absolutely frowned on by the Australian government, because miracle to me, whenever I hear that now and I'm triggered, is snake oil merchants.
Yep, and I believe this one's a snake oil merchant.
Okay, good. Give it to me.
Okay, so you know how we're talking about wrinkles and we're talking about cellulite, and it does slightly benefit these sort of things, which is great. And then we talk about it being like an anti-aging thing or a reduction in aging looks, all right? We've talked about that.
Yeah, that's another one.
So we can pause aging.
Yeah.
This product is a collagen product. Now,
right,
look what they've...
blur this out.
Yeah, blur this out.
Okay.
Have a look what they've called it.
Oh, my.
Now, is that a little bit...
Okay, well, I can't really say this now without actually giving away the. I don't know, how can that be?
We checked yesterday.
Okay.
It's an Australian product sold in Australia.
Okay, it's basically reverse aging, and I'm not going to mention the name of the product, but basically that's what the name of the product is.
And by name, they're inferring that you can reverse your age,
and that we know it's actually really frowned upon, because it is, I think, really at the root of it
on
is
the screen.
It's deceptive. That'll be blurred out, so you won't see that. But
look where you can buy it. Anywhere, basically, can't you?
Wow.
And if you want to click on and have a look at some of those claims that go around it too, the product.
So just have a look here. Let me read them out to you. Okay, here we go. So can you zoom in a little bit more? Okay. Support stimulates collagen production. Good.
Yep.
Increases elastin content and skin acne. Yes. Firm, smooth skin reduces wrinkles. Okay. Supports skin structure and health. Yes. All natural, no additives. Yes. Virtually tasteless, dissolves instantly. Well, all of that is fine.
What about the bottom line? You missed that one.
clinically proven results with as little as 5 grams per day.
Clinically proven?
Well, Steve, are they referring to the studies that we've got?
No.
Oh, they're not?
Different. No.
Okay. So, okay, then realistically they should have an asterisk there, and then they should have the actual clinical thing on the back.
They should.
Now, the funny thing is, outside of the name, I don't actually mind that, Steve, to be honest.
It's pretty dilute compared to the name,
yeah,
which we won't mention, but it's a pretty claimy name, isn't it?
Well, I think I'm amazed that hasn't actually raised some red flags.
It's in the biggest pharmacies in Australia.
There you go, mate. And look, I'm not against anybody marketing their products so long as it's been done in an ethical way. And I'm not interested in a race to the bottom either. I think people need to be able to sort of talk about it, but they've obviously chosen a name that's going to stand out there.
Yeah, it stands out.
Yeah.
We can't mention
anyway. All right. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's hogwash, Steve, like that other one. That other one was pure hogwash. That one actually, I'm not actually so upset by that one, to be honest.
That's just a big claimy one.
It is a bit. Just the name of it is, yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Now, as a woman ages, her bones crumble, don't they?
Well, that seems to happen with osteoporosis, which is more common in women than men.
Very much.
And quickly again, Steve, why is that?
Oh, it's because that women typically have less muscle mass.
Yes.
Have less weight on their bones, and the hormone that keeps their bones healthy, estrogen, declines dramatically.
Right.
As they pass menopause.
Yes. And in the last podcast that we've done, we've actually mentioned about how to arrest estrogen. Loss in natural ways and ways with your healthcare practitioner that you might be able to support that.
Sure.
Outside of that, is there anything that we can be doing?
For your bones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe the resistance exercise, the classic, and vitamin D.
Yep. Vitamin D is really important.
Very important because it regulates calcium.
A little bit of sunlight can be helpful.
Also, a specific type of collagen.
Which one?
Called Fortabone.
Now, this is not available, unfortunately, in Australia. But we're talking about, for our American friends and for our English friends, have a look at this compound.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good one because what they gave was they gave in a randomized controlled trial, double-blind study, showed they gave Fortabone over 12 months, 180 women, and a reduced bone mass, people with reduced bone mass. And the density's changed. Now, I'll show you the graph so you can get a picture of it here. That's what happened to the placebo.
Wow.
And that's what happened to Fortabone, which is what you'd expect.
Night and day.
Yeah.
Net negative on the placebo and a significant net positive on the Fortabone. Oh, it's hard to know because it doesn't have the values associated with it. But in terms of a percentage, you're looking at a negative, let's say -1 to a positive +10.
Yeah, you grow new bone.
Yep.
On this supplement.
Yep.
You know, this is the beauty. Again, 180 people, big study.
It's good.
All that sort of stuff.
It's very good.
So you can see the collagen gets into the bones because the bones are made of collagen.
Sure.
Not just calcium.
Yeah. And so this is a specific peptide chain that helps with stimulating bone cells. So the specific peptides of Fortabone stimulate bone cells to increase the synthesis of bone components such as collagen. They have a kind of signaling effect on osteoblasts to counterbalance the collagen degradation in the extracellular bone matrix, which is an essential framework for bone mineralization. In addition, Fortabone influences degenerative process in bones, reducing osteoclast activity. Yeah. This results in considerably higher synthesis of continuous bone matrix.
Absolutely. Now, the blasts, as the name doesn't suggest, build the bone. The clasts break it down.
Right.
So you want to boost the blasts.
Yeah.
And reduce the clasts.
It's a shame that this product's not available here.
No, it's just, I put it in here for completeness.
And in fact, I'm going to have a look at it again and go back and see, because I know that they're constantly looking to get regulatory support to allow this product into Australia. So again, if we can update, we will. But
why was it? I can't even remember why it wasn't allowed.
I think it had to do with the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or however you pronounce that. You know, mad cow disease.
Yeah.
What is it called again?
Creutzfeldt-Jakob.
Yeah, that's it. I say it so terribly.
We'll just call it mad cow disease.
Mad cow. I find that easier.
Mad cow disease.
No, but Australia obviously is and look, I understand and respect that as well too. You've got to make sure that everything is done. Like obviously, it's anything to do with cattle has to be screened very, very strongly, and this hadn't at that time hadn't satisfied the requirements of the Australian government.
Yeah, there you go. But so it's a beauty.
Yeah.
So that's we won't go on because you can't get it.
No. Well, our friends in America can, and over in Europe and England. happened as well too. So,
so that's good. So you can see that collagen does get in. It gets into your joints, helps your bones. It can help, your skin, reduces cellulite appearance, reduces wrinkled appearance. Collagen, if it's the right type, builds muscle, burns fat. So it depends on what you want out of your goals. Mm-hmm. Can you combine them? Yes, you can, because collagen is in your body. There's already kilograms of it in your body, so it's not toxic. This is stuff that you can actually take regularly as part of a healthy. It depends on what you achieve. You just want more muscle, burn fat, just take the body balance. So it's up to the individual.
Yeah, and look, guys, what we say is there is no miracle cure, but the nice thing about science is that it's proving a lot of the things that we can take and that you can use. Nothing will ever supplant your diet. Nothing will ever supplant exercise. Those things are absolutely a must. But Steve, this has been really interesting, and hopefully this has gone some way with the other podcast to be able to dispel some of the negativity around collagen.
Yeah.
It's not all rosy. I mean, we know that there's some unscrupulous marketers out there, and as there is any industry, but the net positives with quality products from quality companies is excellent. And I think the science now is relatively clear that has now backed up.
Oh, I think so. I think there's certainly benefits with it. And certainly for building muscle or for reducing wrinkles, there's no doubt about that anymore.
Anyway, we say question everything, even what we say, guys. So look into the research and the data. Don't just take what we say or anybody else says. And we provided some links so you can have a bit of a look and determine if it's right for you.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve, we've got a couple of FAQs.
Let's go.
So, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Love the podcast. Sad that you guys deleted a lot of the old ones.
Oh.
I'll get to that in a minute. Regarding glutamine, you mentioned that 5 to 10 grams is the dose for L-glutamine for a healthy person. What if you have gut issues and rebuilding it after antibiotic, antifungal use? Do you recommend more than 10 grams per day? Steve, let me first answer the reason why we deleted some of the... We had to delete some of those because... and it's a shame because we had some good information in there, but we breached the ARTG guidelines, and we don't want to do that. We obviously want to provide a good service, but some of the podcasts that we had mentioned some of the products that we sold, Steve, specifically the names of the product that we sold, that is in breach of the ARTG here in Australia. So we had to delete them. So I'm sorry. But anyway, we've moved on from that, Steve. It's a couple of years in the rear. We only talk about information on the podcast now. We don't mention products, so only ingredients really, Steve. All right. So Steve, in terms of glutamine, which is an ingredient that we can mention.
Yes.
So what's the answer to that question?
10 grams is enough because what I would recommend is, you
take gut health.
Yeah, for gut health. And then I'd take other products to improve post-antibiotic use, like polyphenols-rich supplements, and you can get them from your practitioner if you want.
So if someone's been on a lot of antibiotics, Steve, what happens in the body? And with this lady's question, I assume it's a lady, it could be a guy. I don't even know. It doesn't say.
Doesn't matter.
Actually, it's a double-barreled question. Oh no, they've cut the name off. Anyway, I'm not allowed to read out the names anymore. Is that right? I don't know. Anyway, lovely person, whoever you happen to be,
lovely.
you know who you are.
That's it.
Whether you're a male or a female. Steve, what's the...
Okay, so you take antibiotics, kills bacteria.
Right.
Kills them all.
Good and bad and ugly.
Good and bad and ugly.
Yep.
So you've got good bacteria in your gut, it'll kill them.
Yeah.
Okay, but it won't kill some species in your gut that will then now, because its competition's gone away, overgrow. Like you've got viruses in your gut, you've got protozoas, you've got funguses, you've got, and the antibiotic won't kill those.
Oh.
So you're going to get an overgrowth for dysbiotic bacteria in your gut because it'll be dysbiosis of all different types of bugs.
So almost always, if what I'm hearing is right, if you go into antibiotics, especially if it's for a prolonged period of time and you wipe out a lot of the bugs in your gut, a lot of the bad ones are going to die.
Yep.
A lot of the good ones are going to die.
Yep.
I guess it's like going into your backyard, burning it with fire, let's just say.
Just spraying it with glyphosate.
What's going to grow back?
Yeah.
Typically, it's not going to be a beautiful lawn.
No.
Right? Typically, what's going to take place is you're going to have all sorts of weird patchy weeds and hard ground, and it's going to be ugly and horrible. You actually have to cultivate a good bacteria.
That's a good word. So you cultivate a good microbiome.
Good microbiome. The only way that you can do that is by purposely focusing on it. Now, there are such things as Saccharomyces, Blardi, and other things like that, which are incredibly good. Now, you can go out and find individual bacteria strains. But Steve, typically we talk about 10 15, maybe 20 if you're absolutely at most. But the best way that we've identified to actually support fending off the weeds and killing them and stopping them from growing, if that's the bad stuff, and making sure that you've got nice grass there and you're balancing your microbiome, is actually to use polyphenols. And that doesn't mean that certain strains can't be beneficial. You might want to specifically go for some. And if your practitioner you've been working with has tested your microbiome and said you're deficient in X, Y, and Z, you may wish to go and grab that one. But it's only going to take root in your gut if you've got space, which is where, trumping everything, you still need polyphenols, which are going to create space by killing off bad bacteria and then helping and feeding and fertilizing the good bacteria, as well as giving you effectively the seeds to be able to do that at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to increase bifidum bacteria, and we know this from a trial we did,
sure,
the best way to do that is with polyphenols. It just works.
Not just yogurt. And we're not saying don't eat yogurt, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's got anadophilus, is it?
Acidophilus, lactobacillus acidophilus.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
But that's not a species found in the gut. It's only a transient species.
Right.
It can have benefit while it's there, but
sure,
it won't hang out there.
Yep.
Doesn't like your bowels.
Yeah, there you go.
Just doesn't hang out.
Yeah.
We found it on one of the 20 tests because they probably took some.
Right.
But usually it's not something found in the gut long term.
Sure.
So it's not a long term thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
So much to learn, and there's so much in there. But anyway, so glutamine's important.
Yep.
But like anything, and I think we say this all the time, there's an apex point.
Yeah.
So a little bit's good for maintenance. If you've got an acute problem, a little bit more, as you said, 5 to 10 grams. Yep. Taking any more is going to waste your money.
It is.
It will support and help with the gut lining and help to restore that.
Well.
But absolutely use it in combination with polyphenol-rich diet, polyphenol-rich foods, and or supplements, and hopefully that'll get you going.
Absolutely.
Now, Steve, so hopefully that helped. All right, Steve, we've got another question.
Yes, go for it.
Ready? Always look forward to your podcast each week. You guys are entertaining and provided actionable information. Keep it up. The great work. It's very much appreciated. Have a few questions for you regarding post-workout collagen, which is the best in the market. So we won't mention any brand names here. Would combining this with honey help with the uptake, or actually be worse for hypertrophy due to the anti-inflammatory properties? That's interesting. Now, I'll give you my take on that, Steve, and I could be wrong here because you're the expert. And 2, are there varying quantities of alpha GPC? I can sometimes... So it must be in a supplement. Are there varying quantities of alpha GPC? I can sometimes experience brain fog when taking 60 milligrams in a capsule form.
600 milligrams,
this must be somebody else's product that they've got there.
Yep.
Right. So question 1, Steve-O.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind. Now, I could be wrong because I'm interested to learn the answer to this question as well too. I sometimes take collagen post-workout with honey and banana because I like to replace glycogen. I try and get natural forms. Bananas are high in potassium. I love honey. I just think honey is a fantastic natural sweetener, high glycemic index, relatively low glycemic load. Correct, Steve?
It's a good one. It's got about 80%.
But it's good for you, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
very good.
love the benefits of honey for I mean, just nature knows best, right? So when I'm trying to replace glycogen, after a workout, I want collagen to get into my system to help repair and rebuild muscle, but I don't want glyconeogenesis to occur, which is when the body's in deficit. It's going to look to replace glycogen content first, which is where banana and other sweet things like honey are great because they're going to go in and replace the lost glycogen and potentially also signal a little bit of an insulin spike. Now, insulin is beneficial, the most anabolic hormone in the body. It'll take nutrients that are available and it will store those ingredients. Now, if you've worked out and your muscles effectively are looking for nutrients and repair, insulin can, 1, help to replace the glycogen into the muscle and means that the protein is going to be free and available to help repair and recover.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also honey is mildly anti-inflammatory, but it won't cut out the inflammation from your exercise because, you need a very high concentration of it. Like, you ever suck those honey propolis lollies that reduce the inflammation there? It's not going to impede muscle growth. In fact, it's going to enhance it because of the glycogen and the insulin spike you'll get from it.
So
go for it.
I didn't know about the anti-inflammatory side of things, but once you've actually created the impact of breaking down the muscle tissue with the micro tears, you want to help to repair that as quickly as possible. In fact, the faster you recover, the sooner you can get back to the gym.
Absolutely.
So the more muscle that you can build. So anti-inflammatories, natural ones, are actually beneficial. I think are beneficial. Is that correct?
Very
Steve?
much so. Natural ones. Yeah.
So don't be concerned about using honey.
Yeah.
In fact, I get my honey. Do you know where I get my honey from?
From Elizabeth?
I do. Elizabeth's got bees there. She out nature way. I get bush honey from her. I love it.
Oh,
I had it in it. I'm having it, and I'm getting the wax in it as well too. I'm getting a big chunk of it. I just love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So I think a honey, I consider it almost to be a superfood. I highly recommend it. So throw in some bananas, throw in some honey with your no way. You're getting nothing artificial or nasty in there. That's good. All right. So what about the second part? Obviously, using alpha GPC, probably, Steve, based on our research, but not using our product because we don't make it in capsules.
No.
But what's the deal with this alpha GPC? I can't talk about this. I don't know who this brand is. You haven't mentioned. And look, how can I say this without sounding? I don't trust virtually any other companies out there. I know some of the companies that are out there that are manufacturing product right now. They have no GMP.
No,
they have no processes. Their quality control. We have an excellent quality control team here. Joanna, who's absolutely brilliant. She's come from TGA. In terms of the standards that we have GMP, ISO 9001. We have very high standards here, and I know, right? A lot of companies have a look on the thing. Does it say manufactured in a GMP. Laboratory or facility? Do they abide by ISO 9001 or any of the other ISOs? Because that will help in terms of their quality program. But as for that, Steve, outside of that, let's say could there be something here that we don't know?
Well, there could be. Alpha GPC comes in 99% form or 50% form.
Right.
So this capsule could be a 50% form, and it could have a very low amount in it.
Right. So, but brain fog. Why would alpha GPC?
Well, it shouldn't. It increases choline in the brain, which is terrific for making acetylcholine, which should help your memory and help you be more alert.
I remember with chasteberry when we were talking to people about that, and a supplement we made a while ago. A lot of people, especially women, were coming back saying that they were getting low-grade headaches. Right?
It's from dopamine squeezing.
That's right. There was a dopamine surge. Could anything like that be happening?
Oh, I never heard of it.
Don't think so.
Brain fog. No, I think it's probably a contaminant.
Really?
I hate to say it. Yeah. It doesn't sound right, because brain fog from choline, it's like, choline is rich in hamburgers, for example, and you don't get brain fogs from eating choline. It's very, very good for your brain. It's a classic nootropic. It counterindicates all the other studies out there.
I'd love to actually, could you write into us? And actually both people, please write into us, because we're going to send you a little thank you gift pack for writing in. I'd love to know, could you also please let the team know, you jump onto our live chat or send us info@ATP Science. I'd love to know why you're taking the alpha GPC. Is it pre-training to enhance growth hormone production? Or are you taking it for mental clarity, or a combination of both? Alpha GPC. I love alpha GPC. It's great product. Absolutely should be taking
a good dose.
But that is a bit strange, isn't it?
Very strange. It shouldn't be like that.
Anyway, thanks, guys, and thanks for the question. And Steve, that's all that we've got time for today. So we'll be back with more next week.
Absolutely. See you then.